Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Yasir, and I'm using the Dell machine. I use the CPUZ. CPUZ is a freeware that gathers information on some of the main devices of your system, and that include the processor. In the processor information, we have the processor name, the code name, process package, and the cache level. And then we have the main board and the chipset informations, and then we have the memory type, size, timing, and the module specification, which include in the SPD tab. And in last we have the real time measurement of each course, internal frequency, memory frequency, etc. So I have downloaded the CPUZ version 1.93, and now I'm going to install this on my machine, and click on this and then we have yes. Click on the radio button, I accept the agreement, click next. If you want to change the select destination locations window, you can change, you can use it default as well, click next. There is the folder already exists, I tried it before, click next. And on the select additional tasks window, if you want to create a desktop icon, you click this check and uncheck on the basis of your demand. Click next, and on the ready to install window, read the information, click install button. Now it's installed on my machine, and on the last you uncheck this view CPUZ read me.txt and then click finish. Now I am launching CPUZ from my desktop. You can also launch from the all program window. Click on this icon and click yes. Now CPUZ windows get launched, and on this window we have the different tabs: CPU, cache, mainboard, memory, SPD, graphics, bench, etc. We can discuss all these one by one. On the CPU we have the information about the processor. On the top we have the name of the processor of my Dell machine, which is Intel Core i7. Then we have the code name in which the architect of the processor is written. It's a Whiskey Lake. And then we have the max TDP. Max TDP is the thermal design power, and the my processor using the power is 15 watt. Then we have the package. Package shows the name of the motherboard socket your computer is designed to fit in, and in my case it's using the 1356 FCBGA. 1356 is actually the number of the pin this socket is made up with. Then we have the technology. Technology shows the process geometry to create the processing. In this case it is 14 nanometer. The smaller the technology, the more transistors and the chip can be packed in the smaller space. Then we have the core VID. This is the voltage used by the CPU. It's in my case this is fluctuating between 0.66 to 0.64 volt. Then we have the specification. In specifications we have the core i7-8665U CPU, and it's using the power of the 1.9 gigahertz. Then we have the family and the extended family window. This refers to the stepping information for the processor. It is used to determine the revision of the processor. Each update is a new version, and in my case it's 6 and model is E and AD, and the stepping is C and revision is C not. And then we have the instructions. It refers to the set of the instruction that computer is capable of running and understanding. In this case this processor supports MMX, SSE, SSE2, SSE3, SSE3, SSE4.1, SSE4.2, EM64T, VX-8, AVX and AES, AVX, AVX2, FMA3, TSX. Then under clocks table we have the core speed. It shows the core information of the one of the processor's cores. All cores are identical. Core speed is the frequency that the processor is running at. The processor speed is measured by taking the speed of the CPU bus and then multiplying it by the multiplier. It can be HT link or interconnected link. In my case, the core speed is 798.63 megahertz and multiplier is 8.0 and bus speed is 99.73 megahertz. Then we have the cache. We have the three cache types, L1, L2 and L3. Cache shows the information of the processor. It is used to reduce the average time to access the memory. Cache stores the copies of the most frequently used data from the main memory. And L1 which use in this case is 4 into 32 kilobytes. It's 8-way. And then we have the level 2 which is 4 into 256 kilobytes. It's 4-way. And at last we have the level 3 which is 8 megabytes and it's a 16-way. In last we have the number of the cores used by this system, which are 4, and the threads which are 8. Then we have the cache tab. This has the same information as we discussed in the previous CPU tab. We skip this and we move forward to mainboard window. In mainboard window we have the information of the manufacturer, model, chipset. Manufacturer is Dell in and the model is OPYRY5 and along with the version which is A01. And then we have the chipset. It controls the communication between the processor and the other devices on the motherboard. And then we have the BIOS. BIOS is basically the basic input and output of the system. It initializes and controls the devices on the computer at the hardware level. In this we have the brand name of the BIOS. It's a Dell in version 1.3.11 and then we have the date which is 06/11/2019. And this is the date at which this BIOS is installed. Then move to the next tab, which is the memory tab. And the type of the memory is DDR4. DDR stands for the double data rate. And then we have the size, which is 16 gigabytes. Total amount of the memory in this system. And then we have the channel. In my case this is single. In some cases it might be double or triple, or you can have the 4 times as well, depending on your generations. And then we have the NB frequency, which is 498.8 megahertz. Then we have the timing table. In timing table we have the RAM frequency, which is 1196.8 megahertz, and rest of the informations which I am skipping now, as it is not cache latency is a little complicated and it can't be discussed here. And basically it is the measure of the time between the moment a memory controller tells the memory to access the particular memory column to the data is available to the RAM output pin. And lower the cache latency, the better is the memory of your system. Then we move to the next tab, which is the SPD tab. In this tab, memory additional information about the memory is given. We have the memory slot selection. We have the drop down window which have the two slots right now for my machines. It can be vary from system to system. It's mean the number of the RAMs used on these systems. And my machine there are two RAMs used, which are again a double data rate DDR4, and the module size is of the each RAM, not is of the both slots. It's showing the single slot module size is 16 gigabytes, and maximum bandwidth this double data rate is using is 2 DDR4-2666, and the frequency used is in this case is 1333 megahertz. Then we have the module manufacturer name, which is SK Hynix, and the DRAM manufacturer name, which is also the same as above. Then we have the part number, which is HMA82 G96JJ or 8N-VK. It's a dual rank. And then we have the timing table, which again I am leaving and moving to the next tab, which is about the graphics. It contains the information regarding the graphics or the video card installed on my system. First, we have the name of the graphic processing unit, which is UHD Graphics 620, and then we have the board manufacturer name, which is Dell again, and the revision used is 2. And under this we have the information about the clocks and the memory. In my case it's not it's gray. I don't know why it's gray, but in most of the previous generations it's showing the clocks and the memories information as well. And then we have the last tab, which is the bench tab. Is the benchmark tab actually is used to compare the machine which I am using with the standards, and the standard information is giving the benchmark version 17.0164 is used to compare my machines. And this is the last tab, and this is all about the information of my devices which I am using: the processor, the memory, and the motherboard, SPD of my machine Dell. That's it from my side. Thank you.